YouTube, welcome back to LadyGi. Thanks so much for joining me again. Today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of being a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu parent. As someone who's raising kids in the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu space and as a martial arts Jiu Jitsu Academy owner, over the last 10 years I've seen how parents approach Jiu Jitsu. And while some of them do a great job of being a supportive parent, a lot of them lose sight of the bigger picture of what Jiu Jitsu can do for their child as opposed to what their child can and cannot do for jiu-jitsu. Now, what I'm about to cover today is a huge reminder to myself first, because as a parent whose kids started jiu-jitsu very young, I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned how to be a better supportive jiu-jitsu parent through trial and error. I didn't have anyone guiding me through it. There were no resources on this topic. And I guess for myself as a Jiu Jitsu Academy owner and as a parent, those two things combined, I learned so much through teaching and coaching and training my staff on how to teach kids, dealing with my own children, chatting with other parents, and then dealing with my own training. I learned so much about what a child needs and how I can be a better parent to my children on and off the mats. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I would say is when you first sign your child up for jiu-jitsu, lower your expectations. If you yourself have decided that you're not going to sign yourself up for jiu-jitsu, and I don't know, maybe you want to live through your child or you're giving your child the opportunity to do so, which is fine, but I gotta say you're making a huge mistake. You can't expect your child to excel at something that you have no knowledge of. If you haven't tried jiu-jitsu yourself and you're getting mad at them every time they get off the mats, you can see where that's going to be a problem. You can't expect your child to excel at jiu-jitsu if you don't understand what it takes to train jiu-jitsu. And a lot of parents come in with this idea that, well, I trained hockey or I played hockey when I was growing up, so I understand, I want my kid to do something as well. Like some parents get so emotional about their child excelling in something because they excelled at something when they were a child, that it usually results in them knocking heads. Unfortunately, the kid pays more of the price than the parent does, because emotionally what that does to a child when you're constantly expecting them to do well at something just because you did well at something when you were a kid, you gotta lower your expectations because you're doing a lot of damage to your child. If you really want to understand what your kid goes through on the mats and you really want to relate to them, then sign yourself up as well. Get a gi, get on the mats, attend the adult classes, and see how difficult it is. Jiu-jitsu is unlike any of the traditional martial arts. It's unlike any other sport. You don't have an entire team behind you where they can sub in so that you can get some rest. Like jiu-jitsu and your matches are heavily reliant on yourself and your skills and your ability to apply those skills. Like I see parents get so angry and go crazy on their kids after class, and they get so angry at them for not being able to pass guard or not being able to shrimp or not being able to finish a triangle or not being able to sweep. And I really want to ask those parents, how's your guard passing going? You don't even know what that is. Like you've never even done it before either. So why are you getting mad at your child? It's not easy. Jiu-jitsu is not easy. And if you trained, you would know. So bottom line, if you're not going to sign yourself up, lower your expectations. And if you have signed yourself up, well, then you know already that jiu-jitsu is not easy. The next thing I'd like to say is to trust the process. You have to trust your child's coach. Albeit there are some really bad coaches out there, really bad instructors, people that are teaching jiu-jitsu to kids that probably should not be teaching kids because they lack the training on how to talk to children. Obviously, if there's something inappropriate going on, or if you sense that something is happening with your child, or if the coach is being disrespectful, or if they're really talking down to the kids in general, then obviously, yes, please step in. But don't be that parent that's constantly, giving your child's coach advice on how to teach and conduct their class. And yes, there are a lot of parents out there that do this. Definitely don't be running on the mats and interjecting every time your coach does something. Maybe you don't want your child being partnered with the same kid over and over again. I mean, that in itself, there's a reason why your coach is doing that. Maybe they're trying to test your child's skill level, or maybe there's no one else in the class that's close to their age or skill level or size. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you're not the coach, so sit down. There is a time and place to object to anything. At my academy, we welcome an open line of communication. You can email us at any time. You can pick up the phone. You can text us. You can chat with us before or after class if there's anything of concern. But what I'm trying to say is you really need to respect and trust the process and allow your child's coach to do what they are doing, because there's always going to be a reason for it. Your child's coach can see something, if it's a good coach, they can see something in your child that you yourself can't see. And not only that, they've gone through it before, right? They've gone through the levels of jiu-jitsu. They've failed more times than they've won. And they know that your child can handle a lot more. They know when your child's ready for more. They know when to push your child. They know when your child needs to work on fundamentals a little bit more. So just trust the process and allow your child's coach to do their job. The next thing I would say is, parents, you really need to recognize the hard work that your child does on the mats. Getting beat by the same partners over and over again, like a lot of the times kids are likely going to be partnered with the same kids over and over again just because maybe they're partnered according to their size or their skill level. And getting beat by the same kid repeatedly, class after class, match after match, is definitely going to have an effect on your child. They're going to get frustrated. That's a given. It's jiu-jitsu. Everyone gets frustrated. It's part of the process. Jiu-jitsu will beat you down 100 times before it allows you to get back up. So the best thing for you to do as a parent, instead of getting mad, because I've seen it, I've heard it, I've heard parents get so mad at their kids after class, telling them, you weren't even doing anything. What was that? You weren't even trying. Like, you can't even pass guard yet. Like, I've heard it all. The best thing and what your child needs in that moment is recognition for their hard work. You need to recognize that what they were doing was difficult, and you need to tell them that you're proud of them, for trying. You're proud of them for coming back every day, time and time again, going with the same partner. It's not easy. It can feel very demoralizing to a child. And while they might not be able to express that verbally, you need to be able to recognize that. So if they say something like, you know, oh man, I'm so angry, or I hate that training partner, or even if they say, I hate jiu-jitsu, or I don't want to come back, your response should be, you know what, I'm so proud of you. I know that it's so hard, but you come back every single day, every single time. You keep coming back, and I'm so proud of you for doing that. That takes a lot of bravery, and the fact that you're able to do that, you're inspiring me. And these words of encouragement will not only uplift your child, but when they start to face more adversity throughout their life, you can always refer back to this moment when they wanted to give up, yet they kept going. So it's really going to help them face challenges in the future, but it's all dependent on what your response is. Because if you tell them that you were disappointed in them, or you're annoyed with them, and they sense that, every time they face challenges in the future, they're going to think there's something wrong with them, instead of realizing that, you know what, they gave it their all, they put in all the hard work, and they're going to keep on trying. And that's kind of what life is all about, right? It's not sunshine and rainbows. We say this all the time. So bottom line, just keep encouraging your child. Use words of encouragement. Stop getting mad at them, especially if you don't train, and uplift your child and recognize that what they're doing isn't easy and that you're really proud of them for it. All right, we gotta talk about tournament behavior. Without a doubt, the people that are making the most noise at tournaments are parents. Parents are shouting, they're screaming, they're yelling things that don't even make sense. It actually really makes me laugh when I see parents tell their child to choke their kid out when they're stuck in guard. Like, this is why I say parents need to train jiu-jitsu, because you can't help your kid if you're not training. It's hilarious to me, and it's really comical, and I just chuckle and I laugh. Anyways, getting back to tournaments. Parents are making the most noise at tournaments. And I've heard parents say some of the worst things to their kids. I walked by one parent from another school, and their kid was like, you know, like just like collecting themselves after class, or you can tell that their senses were all heightened and they lost their match. And the parent said that was just a waste of 6 months. Like, you weren't even trying, you know? And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me right now? You actually just said that to your kid? What that parent did not understand in that moment, and this is why I'm making this video, is if you're reacting that way, you have not understood the emotional trauma that your child just went through. During a tournament or any kind of high intensity setting, a person's nervous system is trying to respond to the situation that they're in. How they react is a motor command. And a lot of times they don't have control over that command. And that's why a lot of people say training for tournaments or competing in tournaments is a really good thing, because it trains your mind and it trains your body to react rapidly, as opposed to allowing your your nervous system to take control of the situation. So when a person's in a state of hyper or hypo-arousal, they can't make sense of what's happening, especially in a tournament setting where someone's trying to attack them and there's so much noise around them, right? There's hundreds, thousands of people shouting, yelling, there's other matches going on. You're in an unfamiliar place for a child. That can be very scary. They don't know in that moment how to regulate their emotions and how to calm themselves down. Because for a lot of them, they've never been in that situation before, right? When have they ever been in a situation where someone's trying to attack them? It's never happened. So what ends up happening is that they freeze up, they get beat down, they forget what they're doing. They're trying so hard to catch up to recognize the situation they're in, but they just can't because their nervous system has taken over. So they get this huge adrenaline dump. Their arms and their legs and all their limbs start to tighten. They're trying to process what's happening. They get beat, the match ends, they get off the mats, and now they have to face their parents. Sometimes the parents are supportive, sometimes they're not. Parents are irritated, they're annoyed. They tell them, that was a waste of 6 months. How do you think your child's gonna feel? Do you think that that conversation brought any benefit to their life? Do you think that they're ever going to want to compete again? Do you think that they're ever going to respect you? Do you think that they're ever even going to want to go back to training jiu-jitsu? So in that moment, your child needs support. They need to be told that you're proud of them. They need to be told that they were so brave for doing something that you yourself aren't even doing. If you do train jiu-jitsu, you can tell them that, you know what, I understand what you're feeling. I've been there. I'm so proud of you. You need to acknowledge that they tried their absolute hardest. I myself get so terrified before competing. I hate competing. I feel like I'm going to throw up in my mouth. I want to run away. I have all these thoughts in my head. I cannot control the emotions that I feel before I compete. And I'm an adult and I've been doing jiu-jitsu for like 9-10 years almost. It is not easy. So unless you know what that feels like, this is why I say you got to sign up for jiu-jitsu yourself so you can really understand. Stop expecting your child to be able to regulate those emotions in that state. So again, bottom line, if you're at a tournament, be as supportive as you possibly can. Give them thumbs up, give them high fives, give them a hug, give them a kiss, tell them you're so proud, etc., etc. So I hope this video was helpful. If you know of other parents that train jiu-jitsu or don't train, or they have their kids in jiu-jitsu or they're thinking about it, please share this video with them. I know it's going to help them understand some of the feelings and emotions. I hope if you don't train jiu-jitsu, this has inspired you to train for the sake of your children. I promise you it's only going to bring benefit to your life as well as your child's life. And the bond that you're going to create with your child, it's priceless. So share this video, give it a thumbs up, and you guys will catch me in my next video. Bye.